Entering year 2, last year's Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jayden Daniels, who as a rookie showed he could compete with the best. Look at this, 75 total QBR against teams that made the playoffs. That's the highest of any rookie since that metric was introduced in 2006. Daniels will have to carry that into this season. The Commanders have the 8th hardest strength of schedule, according to ESPN analytics. And that rookie season was after Washington had the greatest roster turnover year over year in the NFL, 2023 to 2024. Adam, they go to an NFC title game for the first time since 1991. Similar question with that we asked for Chicago. What have the Commanders done about building on last season?
And a similar answer to what the Bears have done in Chicago with Caleb Williams, because this is the advantage that these teams with great young rookie quarterbacks have. They're on rookie contracts. So you can go out and spend money that other teams can't. The Commanders can go out and trade for Deebo Samuel and afford his $20 million price tag without any issues. They can go out and trade for Laramie Tunsil at left tackle without any issues about affording a new deal, talking to him about reworking his contract. The Commanders know that there's a window. We saw them at the trade deadline last year when Jayden Daniels played as well as he did. Go out and trade for Marshawn Lattimore because he has sped up the timeline and the expectations for this franchise. So they have been able to be aggressive and go out and surround him with as much talent as they can, no matter the price.
Yeah, and really, Adam, what you're talking about is they're trying to make sure that he doesn't have any kind of regression, that doesn't take any kind of step back. And that's what everyone wants to talk about, right? When you have a rookie who comes in the league and takes it by storm the way he did, people are going, well, they have film on him now, so he's going to automatically regress. And I just don't see it that way. And I think there's 3 keys to that. One, obviously, you got to do everything you can to keep the roster healthy around him and not have things to start breaking down and people not available for him. You do that, you're well on your way. Impactful additions. I mean, you talked about it, Adam. Having a guy like Deebo Samuel, Laramie Tunsil in the fold now, those are huge, huge additions. The drafting of Josh Connerly from Oregon. This offensive line should be real solid. They should be much more physical up front. The running game, and not just Jayden Daniels as far as the running game is concerned, should be much more impactful this year and take some pressure off of him. And then, the continuity of the coaching staff, I mean, that's just huge as well. Cliff Kingsbury coming back. Now, it isn't about, Cliff going on and getting the head coaching job. Jayden has to learn a whole new language, kind of like what Caleb Williams has to do. So a lot of things are stacking up and adding up to Jayden being able to hopefully take it to a whole nother level. Because I'll tell you what, he is the last person I'm worried about in this whole thing. He'll do his part. You just want to make sure everyone around him does their part, and then it's off to the races.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And in the NFL and in football in general, there's an old saying that you make your biggest jump from year 1 to year 2 as far as the speed of the game slows down, as far as your ability to know what to expect, how to expect it, when to expect it. And we're talking about him after his rookie year. Think about that, guys. A 71 total QBR last year as a rookie. So the sky's the ceiling this year. We're expecting big things. And I think his ability to play so calm and so patient and so poised last year is going to be taken to another level. And I think that's the thing that has everyone in Washington excited. You juxtapose that to what's going on in Pittsburgh, where they have no idea who their quarterback is and everything's in disarray. Everything in Washington is in place, and now the enthusiasm and the excitement is starting to build there because they know as long as he stays healthy and everybody around him does their part, he makes that next jump. We're not just talking about a team that can get into the playoffs. You're talking about a team that could have one of the elite quarterbacks in the National Football League. And when you have one of those guys, that gives you an opportunity to win a championship. That's the difference when you have a quarterback that can do what he did as a rookie. And now the game actually slows down his second year. I'm excited to watch him because I know how it was for me, my rookie year to my second year. It was like reading English to Chinese. Like I understood it. I didn't have to get a translator. I knew exactly what was going on, and I can't wait to watch this young man.
Yeah. It's funny. This segment, really only what Lewis said, really only hit because it's just like, you got like Booger bringing up like Pittsburgh Steelers, like that matters at all. And Adam Schefter is trying to acting like he's dropping knowledge, like they're on a rookie deal. What does that mean? That means that the Washington Commanders have cash. They have cash that they could spend, so they can afford Debo. They can afford, and it's like, guys, we all know how this works now. Like we understand what a quarterback being on a rookie deal is. Like, you're not, are you educating like 12-year-olds right now? Like, I don't understand here. I understand those are still things that we kind of have to repeat and say out loud because it just is what it is, and we all need reminders, I suppose. But like, why are we acting like we're like dropping like absolute like knowledge that like nobody else thought of? Like, whoa, that's what the Commanders are doing. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's been one of like the top talking points in the NFL for the last like 5 years, probably, is getting a young quarterback, not paying him a lot of money yet, building the team out, etc., etc. Now, the reality is like, I believe in all of that, which is why I also think like this is also just not landing on me as much right now. And I've already, and Louis Riddick has already brought up like his 3 keys or whatever it was to avoid a sophomore slump, and I've already railed against the idea of Jayden Daniels getting a sophomore slump, and I talked about like building the team, etc., etc. But I really think it just all 100% comes down to continuity of coaching and personality of the quarterback. More so continuity of coaching, but also I think a combination of who the quarterback is and what they want. And not just continuity, but continuity of high quality coaching. Because you could have continuity of coaching, and the coach is just not good enough. And I'd love to know. It would be too hard to kind of really dig into all that research. So if any of you guys know, please let me know in the comments. But how many quarterbacks had an awesome rookie year and then had their sophomore slump? But how many of them had a great offensive head coach or a great offensive coordinator? And one that like actually stood the test of time. Wasn't just kind of great in year 1 and kind of year 2, but then kind of fizzled away. Like, I mean, someone that like you actually have that continuity. And it's obviously going to be a lot easier just to kind of look at the offensive head coaches in the NFL and then trying to figure out, was this OC fired or did this OC leave? Whatever it may be. And I would love to look at that more, because I suspect so many of these quarterbacks who have had great years followed by kind of not so great years, a lot of times it's more coaching than the roster itself. Of course, injuries and whatnot and just having to lose players is going to affect it. But I think more than anything, you're looking at a change of coach. And just being able to continue to speak that same language and have that continuity of a high level coach, I think it's just everything. I mean, it really is. Coaching matters so tremendously. And having Cliff Kingsbury still there with Jayden Daniels is everything. And then I just think also combine that with Jayden Daniels' personality. I don't think that Jayden Daniels feels that he has arrived. I think he's very much kind of cut, although a lot happier and more outgoing version of a Jalen Hurts. But I just think that he is very much kind of like, I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to get the job done. It's like, I'm not going to stop until I do it. And I do think you have a collection of quarterbacks who are still going to put in the work. They're still going to get after it. They still want to get better. They still want to, win and do all of that. But I don't know if it consumes them as much. I don't know if it really is just all they can think of. Because make no mistake about it, there's all different variations of how hard people try at anything. And you would think, oh, if you're in the NFL, you're getting paid to play football, or, you're really great. That just means like you're kind of automatically putting in that work. And you really don't. I mean, it's really not. I played with players who were absolutely brilliant, but they just didn't live and die by it. They just didn't. These things have become so generic, like eat, sleep, dream it, and blood, sweat, and tears, and it's become so romanticized and stuff, especially like in shows like Hard Knocks and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, there's plenty of players that are all about it, but it's not everyone. And someone like Jayden Daniels is, and you really do got to be about it. You really do. I mean, that's how you avoid the sophomore slumps. That's how you avoid really any type of regression. That's how you avoid going too deep when you're having a bad run, when to not get sucked into all of the doubt, because you're putting in the work, and then you can have faith. Yeah, this is just how it happens. I had a couple bad games in a row. It doesn't mean that I'm not good or that I've lost it. It's just a statistical guarantee I'm not going to just to be able to keep going up, 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 up. I'm going to have really bad games. I'm going to have games that look so bad that it's going to be like, they're going to say on the broadcast, that is the worst game of so-and-so's career. Just is what it is. And then I'm going to follow it up with kind of an average game. Not elite, not special. Just how it is. And when you put in the work, when you have the right people around you, when you have the right coaching staff around you, you get to survive all of that. When you don't, that's when you just sink. That's when you just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and things really unravel. Then you really need a bounce back. And then there really is all this pressure. And then it feels like you are kind of suffocating and you're hanging on by a thread. And like I said, everything just kind of spirals. And I think you see different flavors of that a little bit with some of these quarterbacks who have a great year followed by a not so great year. Because it's kind of like, was that first year a fluke? You know, what's going on? The things that were working last year aren't working now. I have a different coach that I'm trying to communicate with. Was it really just a coach? And like, players understand the importance of coaching. Any actual player with a good head on their shoulders understands the importance of coaching. I think you have some players that are like, I can do it no matter what. But if you really look to any great player, like special player, Manning, Brady, Mahomes, Jayden Daniels, like they deeply, deeply understand that they will get nowhere without great coaching. That, you know, and that's why I always find it funny when you see certain fans try to push back on the importance of coaching, and it's like, well, Tom Brady thinks it's really important. Drew Brees thinks it's really important. Manning thinks it's really important. Patrick Mahomes thinks it's really important. So what I think they know a little bit more than you do. And Jayden Daniels, by all accounts, really understands it. And that's why it's like, I bet on their relationship last year. I mean, that was really the foundation of why I thought Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders were going to be so successful going into last season. I was betting on the relationship and the dynamic between Jayden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury. And in a lot of ways, it's the same thing this season. It's not so much of like, well, they added Debo, they added, you know, this piece and that piece. It's like all that stuff is great, and I think it's obviously going to benefit them significantly. But I am still my focus and the foundation of how I view things, especially in the football world. It's like I'm looking at Cliff Kingsbury and Jayden Daniels, as well as what is Dan Quinn doing to elevate that defense. That will continue to be my foundational approach, quite frankly. And so, yeah, I mean. I think the Commanders are there. Yeah, they got because even with the existing roster that they had, like, yeah, they ended up getting rocked by the Eagles, and quite frankly, the Eagles were, you know, especially defensively, they were forcing turnovers left and right on every single team. But I think when you kind of look at it and think, when you say it's all said and done, I think it's totally fair to say that the Eagles were the best team in the NFL. They won the Super Bowl and obviously won quite convincingly. I think it's fair to say that the Kansas City Chiefs were like the most buttoned up and the most like kind of prepared is probably not the proper word, but their ability to execute at a incredibly high level of consistency. I think that's Andy Reid, that's Spags, that's Mahomes. That's why you come away with the win against the Buffalo Bills and whatnot. But I think if we were to kind of look back and see these teams, and if we were to kind of start this tournament again, you would I would be putting the Commanders right there with all the other teams except for the Eagles, only because they won so convincingly that I think they deserve to kind of have that step up. But if they just kind of won in a more traditional way against the Commanders and the Chiefs, then I would put all of them in the same tier, quite frankly. And that's now not taking into account the fact that Jayden Daniels is obviously, I mean, he should be a better quarterback this coming season than not. His relationship with Cliff Kingsbury should be better. Cliff Kingsbury will actually be just a better coach in the NFL this coming season just because of his own built-up experience. Not to mention, he's going to be a better coach specifically for Jayden Daniels because now it's year 2 with their relationship. So, you know, I think there's just so much to like here. It's just going to be a fascinating ride. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Washington Commanders and Jayden Daniels and this whole notion? I was going to asked the question about the whole sophomore slump, but I feel like we've had that conversation enough, and I'm sure we'll be forced to have it again many more times. So I'm just curious what you guys all think about kind of what Jayden Daniels needs to do, I guess, and the Commanders as a whole to kind of continue this momentum and to kind of solidify themselves as, at this point, the goal is to become a perennial contender, more so than just winning the Super Bowl right now. It's like, how do we consistently be a top contender? Because that is how you then ultimately break through and win a Super Bowl. But let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so do you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.